Beneath a looming sky of thunderous clouds, deep within the mist-shrouded moors of England, stood the once magnificent castle of Lord Edmund. Its towering spires, now weathered and veiled in ivy, held centuries of secrets, but none more mysterious than the one that was about to unfold. Lord Edmund was dying, his skin pallid as parchment, his breath a shallow rasp. Gathered around his vast bed were his three sons. Arthur, a man of towering strength with a heart as rigid as his sinewed arms. Rowan, slender and sharp-eyed, whose wit had outmaneuvered even the craftiest of men. And Cedric, the youngest, overlooked and quiet, whose gentle soul made him the least likely to lead. As the old lord's final breath drew near, his fading eyes glimmered with a peculiar light, a weight of secrets still unsaid. "One of you must inherit the crown," he whispered, his voice a mere shadow of its once commanding tone. "But the heir is not chosen by birthright or strength. The crown it chooses." His trembling hands revealed a wooden box, darkened with age. Inside gleamed three interlocking rings, gold, silver, and iron, each carved with intricate symbols, their meaning lost to time. "Solve this puzzle," he rasped. "Only when you work together will the true heir emerge. Fail, and you will bring ruin not just to yourselves but to our land. The crown does not forgive the unworthy." His hand fell limp and silence descended, as cold and ominous as the wind that howled outside the castle walls. The brothers stood in uneasy quiet, their minds already spinning with ambition, suspicion, and greed. That night, in the grand hall, they sat around the ancient oak table, staring at the rings. The fire crackled in the hearth, casting flickering shadows that seemed to dance with malice, whispering of what was to come. Arthur, with a voice that boomed like thunder, was the first to speak. "There's no puzzle here. I am the eldest, the strongest. The estate and the crown should be mine. This is a farce." Rowan, ever the strategist, leaned back with a sly smile. But strength without wisdom is useless. The crown will go to the one with the mind to solve this riddle. You may have your muscles, but I have something far more valuable." He tapped his temple, his eyes glinting with the promise of victory. Cedric, the quiet one, remained silent, watching as his brothers descended into bickering. His mind, however, was not on winning but on the cryptic words their father had spoken. What did it mean to solve this puzzle together? The rings before them seemed to mock their division, glinting with an otherworldly light. As the night wore on, the fire dimmed, but the tension did not. Morning arrived with an eerie mist swirling around the castle grounds. The brothers awoke to find something unexpected. At the foot of each of their beds, an identical letter, written in a hand none of them recognized, had been placed. The message was simple yet chilling. "Trust is your key. Betray it, and the crown will betray you." Arthur, ever suspicious of Rowan's cunning, immediately accused him of planting the letters as part of some elaborate scheme. Rowan, offended, turned the accusation back on Arthur, convinced his brutish brother was trying to frighten him into submission. They argued heatedly, their words echoing through the hollow halls of the castle. Cedric, ever the mediator, tried to bring peace. "This is exactly what the puzzle wants," he said softly, but neither brother listened. Their eyes were clouded with greed. Their minds were too focused on claiming the crown for themselves. As the days passed, their attempts to solve the puzzle grew more desperate. Arthur, in a fit of frustration, tried to smash the rings apart with his sword, but the rings grew tighter, as if bound by some unseen force. Rowan, always scheming, attempted to deceive his brothers by planting false clues around the castle, but each time he thought he had outwitted the others, the rings remained unchanged, mocking his efforts. Then, on the seventh day, a storm rolled in, fierce and unrelenting, as if the heavens themselves were growing impatient with the brothers' failure. Thunder cracked like the angry voice of their father, and lightning split the sky, illuminating the castle in brief flashes of ghostly white. That night, Cedric, the quiet one, found himself alone in the ancient library, surrounded by the dusty remnants of their ancestors' knowledge. In the flickering candlelight, he pored over books of old, searching for any clue, any whisper of what the rings truly meant. And then, In a forgotten corner of a leather-bound tome, he found it. A single line of ancient text, barely legible, written in the language of old kings. Only in the act of sacrifice shall the true heir emerge. The next morning, Cedric approached his brothers. "I know what must be done," he said, his voice steady, though his heart pounded in his chest. "The rings, they represent us. Gold for Arthur's strength, silver for Rowan's wit, and iron for my heart. But they are bound together because they need each other. We need each other. Only when we make a sacrifice will the puzzle be solved," Arthur scoffed. "Sacrifice? What sacrifice could you possibly make that would change anything?" Cedric met his brother's eyes with unwavering resolve. "I will give up my claim to the crown. I do not desire power. If it means peace, I will be the one to walk away." A silence fell over the room, heavier than any before. For the first time, Arthur and Rowan saw the depth of their youngest brother's heart, the quiet strength he had always carried but never boasted of. Together, they placed their hands on the rings, Arthur's strong and calloused, Rowan's nimble and clever, and Cedric's gentle but firm. As their fingers intertwined, the rings began to glow, their light growing brighter and brighter until it filled the room with a blinding brilliance. When the light faded, the puzzle was solved. The rings had transformed into a single golden crown, hovering in the air. But the crown did not rest on Arthur's head, nor on Rowan's. It settled on Cedric's brow, the brother who had willingly given it up. The true test had not been of strength, wit, or even unity. It had been a test of sacrifice, of who could see beyond themselves and embrace what was best for all. Cedric, the quietest, the gentlest, had proven himself the most worthy. Arthur and Rowan, humbled, kneeled before their brother, not as a king born of inheritance but as a leader chosen by the crown itself. And so it was that Cedric became lord of their land, ruling with wisdom, strength, and compassion. The brothers, once divided, now stood united, their bond stronger than ever. But the story of the crown and the twisted path it took to reveal its true heir would live on for centuries, a tale of suspense, deceit, sacrifice, and the ultimate test of a leader's heart. As the tale comes to its riveting end, you're left with a question: what would you have done in Cedric's place? Would you have made the sacrifice or fought for the crown? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed this story, and be sure to subscribe and ring the notification bell so you never miss another twisted folktale from Folktales of Many Tribes. There are always more stories lurking in the shadows, waiting to be told. Thanks for watching, and until next time, remember, sometimes the greatest power is knowing when to let go.